Hello you glorious lot, it's Megagran here again with another episode of my vintage story. Now then, when I logged onto the server on this day, it was very quiet. There was nobody about except me. And it was still very cold, even though we were getting towards the end of winter. I was thinking I should light a fire. It was the 8th of February, just after midnight, and it was minus 10 degrees. And there was medium rift activity. I could see a rift right through the window when I looked, and I wondered how many more there were about. But I should be safe in here after getting my lantern in the last episode. So I lit my fire, and I stood back looking at my almost new fireplace. And I had a few thoughts of how I could change it, maybe enhance it, maybe make it look a little bit more decorative. I wasn't quite sure. Anyway, I needed to get back to the job at hand, and today I was going to start off with backpacks. So I needed leather, and I needed quite a lot of it. For one backpack I needed 8 pieces of leather. So to change all of my backpacks I needed 32, of course. Now leather making, as I was finding out, is quite a process, and I thought I should really start the process now. I needed some barrels, and I needed a place to put them because they'd be there for quite some time, so I thought my cellar would probably be the best place. And the first thing I needed to do was make a solution with limestone. You could also make a solution with borax, but seeing as we had limestone absolutely everywhere, it was the easiest solution to make, and I had quite a few stones. And all I needed to do was make it into a powder, which I could do with my hammer. So, having thought I'd have to go out and pick some, I put my pick away and grabbed my hammer, the one with least durability. So I popped my hammer into my crafting grid, grabbed a handful of stones, and it made it into lime. I didn't quite manage to break my hammer. There was about 4 durability left on it. And I learned later I could have used the quern without using any durability at all. Oh well. I needed to fill the barrel with water, and I could fit 50 litres of water in this barrel, and with a 1-to-1 ratio I'd need 50 lime. I soon realised that I'd need more than 1 barrel for this process, although I underestimated even then how many barrels I'd need. And by this time I was getting a bit cold. I needed to warm up. But the recipe was quite simple, just boards and sticks. And after I'd warmed up, I went and put it down in the cellar. And just by clicking on the barrel, you open the interface and you can see the slot where the lime goes in. And straight away, it made 50 litres of lime water. Now I'd only brought down exactly how many I needed for my backpacks, not thinking that I could fit more in these barrels. It wasn't clear to me at first how much I could put in, so I tried putting them all in 1 barrel. And nothing was happening. I wondered if I put too much in. So I took some out, and there it was. Will turn into 16 soaked hide in 20 hours. So I sealed it. And then immediately thought, well, maybe I could have fitted more in there. So then before sealing this one, I hesitated a bit. And I thought, maybe I could fit more in this one, and I should really see whether I had any more small hides upstairs. I know Orr had thrown quite a lot at me when he was bringing me my other backpacks. And once I opened the right basket, I found I had 9 of the small ones. I took some of the larger ones as well. But then I thought, no, I think they all have to be the same size to fit in a barrel. So I tried 9 more in this barrel, and I think I'd got to the maximum I could fit in, which worked out at 2 litres per hide. So I sealed them both, and I left them to do their work. The next thing I wanted to get on with was to make a chisel. I've been quite excited at the thought of making a chisel, because you could do quite a lot with it. And it can be used in the crafting grid to craft some other stuff. So I did some more smithing and made myself a chisel. Now the chisel was quite a simple thing to make. It just required moving around just a few of the voxels of copper. The rest you just chipped away, but you did have to be very careful about where you pointed the hammer when you chipped things away. Luckily, with the chisel you had many more voxels to fill any holes that you made. And after letting it cool, I was raring to go with chiselling. I decided to have a go with something around the door. So I needed to select the block I was going to use. And then if I pressed F, I got a selection that I could use to determine how big my chiselled bit was going to be. So I thought I'd start off with something quite small. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Oh. Did I select that? Aha, there we go. Had to select it first. Oh, that was so cool. That was so cool. Wow. It seemed that the possibilities could be endless. However, I think they would be limited by one's creativity. I would have to think very carefully about where to apply this chisel. But for now, anything was fair game. And you couldn't really make a mistake because you could put back what you took away. So that was quite good. And I kept finding little bits to chisel. I was in danger of over-chiselling everything. No, must stop. Just this little bit. I came to the conclusion that I must actually preserve the rest of the house. In case I did so much chiselling, there'd be nothing to stand up. But then my mind thought about the bridge. Now, I wasn't going to do a lot of chiselling here. I just wanted to do something really, really simple. Really simple, but yet effective. I quite like that. I quite like that a lot. It took me the whole rest of the day, but I managed to do them all. And that very simple pattern made all the difference. And I did think I might practice on a piece of wood to see if I could make something really nice to fit on top of each post. I needed to check on my heights, and I was quite chuffed and surprised to see that that first part of the process had been completed. I had soaked hides. And in the second barrel, there was obviously some wasted lime water because I hadn't put in enough hides to use up all the lime water. So the waste was sort of expected, although now I had the problem of what to do with the remaining lime water. In the end, I decided it was too small to be used, so I decided to break the barrel and get rid of the water, which worked quite well. So now I needed to move on to the next stage of the process. I needed to make some tanning and I needed to scrape my hides. So to scrape my hides, I need to put them in my crafting inventory with a knife. And as I took them out, they would be scraped by the knife. It did use durability, so you needed enough knife or knife durability to do them all, which I did. And then I needed oak logs. It had to be oak logs to put in the barrels of water, and that would make weak tanning. And you needed 1 log for every 10 litres. And that would take another 24 hours. So I left them to it. I'd been thinking for a while now that I needed a back door in my house, just for ease of getting in and out, you know. But there wasn't very much room out there. And that might need me to extend my garden a bit. That was going to be a bigger job than I really, really wanted to do, because I wanted to get on with my chicken coop. Now, I had thought that I'd put my chicken coop just here, but then as I placed the fences, I realised that it wasn't going on soil, it was actually going on stone. Limestone. We did have a lot of it, I did say. I looked around for a better place to put this chicken coop because I did want it to be on soil. I wanted bits of grass to grow inside of it for it to look quite natural. But then I thought, well, maybe I could just take out some of the limestone and replace it with soil. It would take a bit longer, but then I thought it'd be worth it. So that's what I did. Now I thought I'd have a round chicken coop, you know, just a bit different. And that was my interpretation of round. I wasn't quite sure how big it needed to be. And again, just like with the house, I made the mistake of making it an even number. And of course, me being who I am, it took me a while to realise that that really wouldn't work. I even got as far as putting the upright poles on that were going to support the roofing bit, because I did think that a roof might stop wolves and foxes from spawning inside it. And it was when I was putting the gate in that I realised I would have to resize this. Although I did plod on a bit longer than that, resisting the temptation to take everything down so far. I mean, it wasn't a lot, it wasn't like I'd built a house. But once I'd done the gate bit and I stood back, I thought it looked quite a complete mess. It really did. And I couldn't leave it like that, so I had to take it down. So I made each straight bit 5. That would create a middle point on each straight side, and I was quite happy with that. It made it a lot bigger, and I wondered if it was too big. But I accepted that being too big was better than being too small when we were talking about chickens. It would give them plenty of room to run about. And by the time I got to putting the roof on, I was quite happy with it. So I pillared up and used oak slabs for the building material. I'd got quite a bit of oak now, because I'd found a couple of those huge trees when I was out looking for oak to make the tanning. So I set about laying the slabs side by side to make an outline. And it wasn't until I got to the other end that it decided to do a vertical slab instead of a horizontal one. And then I remembered that little trick of putting them in your crafting inventory to make sure that they stayed horizontal all the time. So I carried on to finish the outline. That didn't seem to take long. Then I needed to do the next layer, and I wanted to go up one for that one. And I thought that'd create a nice little roof. It was a bit tricky, knowing where to put your blocks so that you got your slabs in the right place. But once I'd figured it out, I was on a roll, and it didn't take long to do that next layer. And by the time I got to the penultimate layer, I thought it was quite a dinky little roof. I quite liked it. I just hoped I'd finish before it got pitch black, because I didn't want to be out here in the dark. And then I got to the last layer, and I had to make a decision. Did I want an outie or an innie for my last slab? I decided on an outie, so then I could put a lantern on the underside of it. And after inspecting the underside and making sure that everything was fine, I placed a little pole on the underside of my last slab and could just see a lantern hanging from there. But alas, I didn't have one. think I might have to use oil lamps just to make sure it stayed light until I could make a lantern or buy one. I quite like that. I needed to replace the limestone in there for soil, but I'd have to do that in the morning because it was getting too dark now. So I thought I'd go back and sort out my back door. Well, I thought I needed to take the whole of the fence down, but I decided that I might only have to move this bit here, where the actual back door was going. I placed some cobblestone where I was going to have the stairs. But I thought, no, I needed 2 lots. I needed that to extend out a little bit more before I put the bottom stair on. But then it became quite clear to me that this was just such a tight corner that I would have to move my whole fencing outwards. So I decided to tackle it, seeing as I had the time. And like I'd done earlier, I used mud brick for under the fencing. In fact, I thought it looked quite good, did that mud brick, so I changed the whole lot right up to the house. And then I had a really good idea. I got my chisel and I made these cobblestones into cobble stairs, because I only had one lot of stairs, and the stairs on their own had a funny line down them that I didn't like. I quite like that. So I used my other 2 cobblestone to put underneath them, and that finished them off nicely. Of course, I had to have some safety fencing out there, because it was quite high, was that stair. And I quite liked the way that looked. So I decided to carry on and do the garden on the east side of the house as well. And in the end, I was glad I did the whole lot. I needed to find some medium fertility soil though. My garden was looking a bit like a patchwork quilt. And I took the mud bricks all the way down the side passage, which reminded me I had a lot more soil to find to create good foundations for my house and gardens. I was quite chuffed with all that work. It took me all night to do, kept me busy, and I thought it looked pretty good. Now I could get back to my chicken coop. So I made a couple of oil lamps because I didn't want the chicken coop to be in total darkness. I had heard that in total darkness animals disappeared. So I tried to make them sort of central, or to cover as much ground as possible, because the light from the oil lamps didn't go very far. And then it was time to replace the limestone for the soil I'd collected. And with a good pick, it didn't take that long really. And my thoughts were wandering to the effort of catching some chickens, which I'd heard and experienced could be very frustrating. But that would be for the next day. So I went down to the cellar to examine my barrels. And the weak tanning had been made. So now I could put in my hides. And because I knew there'd be a surplus of fluids because I didn't have enough hides to fill both barrels, I just divided them in half. Well, sort of half. I mean, it was an odd number. Ugh, even numbers and odd numbers. Oh my goodness. I come a cropper whichever way we go. So I popped them in and I sealed them up, and it would take 3 days to do its work. And then I thought, maybe I should have made another couple of barrels for the strong tanning. So now I needed to make troughs and hen boxes. The hen boxes were for the hens to lay eggs in. They preferred hen boxes than on the ground. And if they were in hen boxes, there was a chance of them being fertilised by the cockerels. So I made a few of those. I made a few troughs, which were just made out of 3 boards in a V shape in your inventory. And I was off to put them in the chicken coop. And as I walked up to it, I thought I quite liked the look of it. I liked that it was round, and I liked the roof as well, and I liked the size. So I think all in all, it was a job well done. So I put one of the hen boxes down and I went outside to see if I could reach it from the outside without having to go in. And I could. It said empty at the moment, of course. So I spread the others about and I put the troughs sort of in the middle. I only had one flax grain, but I put it in anyway. It might help the hens get in there when I started rounding them up. And I tried grass in the other, but I did read somewhere that you could use dry grass as a feed, but I found out later that was just in the big troughs for the bigger animals. But hey ho, so now it was time to try and get some hens in there. There's one. Come on, little chicken. Come on. That's it. Oh. Is it going in? Is it going in? Oh, I need to get it open. No! Let me get round the other side. Quick. Right, that way, chicken. Come on. Oh, it's stuck. It's stuck. Stay there, chicken. Stay there. Go on in. Yes. There's another one. Go on, chicken. Go on, go on. Oh, no. Don't want those critters. Come on, chicken. Oh, it's not even open. Oh. Let me just put a funnel here. Right. If I get it coming this way, it should go straight in. Where's it gone? Oh, I see it. It's there. Come on, chicken. Come on. Come on. Yes, yes. No, not that way. Oh, no. Come here, chicken. Oh. Where's it gone? Oh. I might have killed it. It's gone. The next morning I went out for another go. I did a little bit of hunting as I went on, got a few little critters. It was a gorgeous morning. I've been all round the place and I couldn't find any on my side. So I thought I'd head over onto Maddie's side, and I spotted some over in the distance. In fact, there looked like quite a lot of them. Come on, that way, that way. Go on, you can do it. Oh. Oh dear. Oh, they're all spreading out. If I could just get one in. And that cock there. Oh, I made a hash of that. I needed more fences. Right, I'm going to make a funnel here. Where was it? It was over there. It was over there. Wide berth. Give it wide berth. Right, come on. That way. Yes, yes. Keep going. No, no, in. Yes! Now for you. I want you as well. Oh dear. In! Right, let me get that gate open. Come on. Nice. Right, now let's get this cockerel in. Just open that. Right, come on, in you get. Come on. No, let's get outside. That's it. No! Oh dear. Get over that side. Come on now, over there. Come on, in. Oh, what a trial that was. Well, that was it. I got my 2 hens and my cockerel in there. And that's all I needed to start. Needed to get rid of this funneling. And there they were. That took quite an effort, but I'm glad I did it. So I think that's going to be it for this episode. Got quite a lot done. Quite chuffed with all that I got done, actually. So take care, everybody. And I'll see you next week in the next episode. Bye-bye.